Well, good morning, boys and girls. Thanks for joining me for Sunday school today. I thought we would start with a word of prayer because that's always the best thing we should start with. So fold your hands, bow your head, and let's pray. Dear God, thank you so much for another day, another opportunity to learn and grow more about you. Please help us to know the message you want us to hear so that we can just be more and more understanding of your love and power for us. Amen. Okay. Now, do you remember our Bible verse we've been working on? We did, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was the first one. This one we're working on 1 Peter. So let's see if you remember it. God cares for us. So let's try that with our hand motions now. Ready? God cares for us. 1 Peter 5:7. Good job, boys and girls. Again, we get it into our heads, we put it into our hearts, and then we can share it with everyone around us, right? Well, I bet you're really, really anxious to see Bruno, right? I'm a little bit worried about him because I came today and here he is in his house, right? But there's something a little strange about it. His ears seem to be sticking out. What is he doing in there? Let's see. Let's check it out and see if he can come out and see. Bruno, I notice you're kind of falling out of your house there, Bruno. What is going on? Why? Bruno, come on. Bruno, Bruno, I can barely get you out of this house. Oh. Bruno, what is going on? Your house is too small, but it's the same house you've had for a long time. Why is it all of a sudden so small? Because you filled it with something? Bruno, why have you filled your house up? I mean, is it comfortable? No, I bet not. It's got a bunch of lucky things in here. Lucky things in your house. You want us to see? Okay, Bruno, what is this? Your lucky bear. Okay. You have more? There's more lucky bears in here. Okay, 1. Oh my goodness. 2. 3. Any more? There is? Oh my goodness. 4. Goodness. You need them. Why do you need them? Because you feel scared? Oh, Bruno. Well, what do these bears do for you? They're lucky, so nothing can hurt you? I'm not so sure that's the best logic, Bruno. You have more? Oh, Bruno, look at... There's a giant elephant in your house. He keeps you safe? Well, how does he keep you safe? He's lucky. He's lucky too. Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry. I just noticed you can't even see these. So we've got a bunch of plastic bears, a giant elephant. No wonder you couldn't fit in your house. Is there more, Bruno? Oh, Bruno. Crayons. Are these your lucky crayons, I guess? Oh, Bruno. You think these keep you safe? They help you feel brave? Well, not really. No, okay. Well, there's actually more things in here, Bruno. Okay, we got a toy. And we have some food. Food makes you feel happy and sometimes safe. Okay, so let me get this straight, Bruno. You have all of these things in your house, but it makes you not be able to fit into your house very easily. Okay? It's not comfortable. No, I would think so. I mean, could you sleep with an elephant's trunk in your neck? That does not sound comfortable. And Bruno, do these things really help you feel safe? For a little bit. But then after then, what happens? Then you're scared again. Yeah, there's a reason, Bruno. Because these things don't help you. I mean, this elephant is cute, but it can't trample out fear. It can't They can't come alive and be scared of things. And these crowns can help you color about what you're feeling, but they're not going to solve any of your problems. Oh, Bruno. You want to stop being scared? Bruno, there's only one way. You have to trust God. You forgot about that. Yeah, I thought so. Because, Bruno, our Bible verse is that God cares for us. And no matter what happens in this life, if we pray and remember all the ways that God has already kept us safe, already given us everything we need, then we can remember that He will always do that, because God never changes and He always loves us. So, Bruno, what you need to do is when you're feeling scared, you need to remember how God has provided for you in the past. Is there a time when you were feeling scared and God came to help you? What happened, Bruno? Oh, that is very special. So it was raining and you were scared, and then you remember that God created the rain and it wasn't going to hurt you. See, whenever we remember how God is caring for us and how He loves us, it takes all of our fear away, doesn't it, Bruno? Okay, Bruno, I know that we all sometimes get wrapped up in fear, because fear is a very strong feeling. But I'm going to give you something to help you remember. I'm going to put our Bible verse back in your heart, because I do think you may have forgotten that God cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. So would you like to put this in your heart? And you'd like to get rid of all the other things? So you have more room in your house, Bruno. I think that's a great idea. Okay, get your chin up so I can get your heart out. And let's put this in your heart and help you stomp away fear. See, a toy elephant can't help you do that. So we're going to fold this back up and put it back into your heart. Bruno, put your chin up for me. And I'll put it in your heart. I know, it tickles. I know, Bruno. You got to hold still so I can do it. There we go, Bruno. Okay. No, I'll keep this stuff. Yes, I will find a place to put it. And you can have a nice nap now with no elephant trunk in your neck. All right, Bruno. We'll put you back inside this nice, comfy, cozy house now that is just perfectly sized for you, Bruno. Silly puppy. Oh, look it. Now his ears are not sticking out, and he has got all the room he needs to have a nice little puppy nap. Silly Bruno. But he does remind me of a story in the Bible of somebody who was really afraid. Even though God showed him His power, he still was really afraid. Let's go check out that story now. So, do you remember our story before about Moses? We meet him as he's a baby boy. Now, he is a Hebrew baby. Those are God's chosen people. And Pharaoh did not like God's chosen people. And he wanted all the baby boys to be killed so they couldn't grow up healthy and strong. But you know, God had other plans for Moses. Moses' mom took him into a basket to the river and trusted God to keep him safe, where he eventually ran into the princess. Well, the princess wanted to keep him, but she was not a mom, so she didn't know what to do with him. So Miriam, Moses' sister, went and got Moses' mom, and Moses' mom got to take care of him for a while until she did eventually have to bring him back to the palace with the princess to live. But before she did that, she taught him all about what it was to be God's chosen people, to be a Hebrew. And so when Moses went back to the palace as a young man, or a little boy, he knew who he was. Now, he grew up in the palace, and he grew up watching Pharaoh be really mean to the Hebrews. He made them into slaves and made them do hard work, and he was not kind to them, and he was very, very mean. They had to do so much work that they would sometimes faint because the work was just too hard. It was really hard for Moses to watch his people being treated this way. So one day, Moses tried to help, And the king, Pharaoh, got really mad at him and chased him away. Moses was really scared of Pharaoh now, and he knew that Pharaoh was really mad at Moses. So he ran away, and he became a shepherd in the fields. Let's put him up on our board here. And one day when he was being a shepherd with those sheep, he came upon a bush. And this bush was not an ordinary bush, because this bush was on fire. It had flames coming out of it all over the place. But here's the strange thing. Even though it had fire everywhere, it wasn't burning up. So if there's fire on a tree, it's going to burn the tree down. And it won't be able to come back. And it won't be staying green. It'll just burn and burn and burn until it is a pile of ashes. And you probably can't even see the tree anymore. But this bush stayed green. It wasn't burning up. It just had fire in it. And Moses was super surprised. And then Moses heard something even more surprising than just a bush with fire in it. He heard the voice of God, and the voice of God said, "Moses, take off your shoes. You're on holy ground." And Moses took off his shoes, and he realized it was the voice of God talking to him. And God told him, "Go back to Pharaoh and talk to him and tell him to let the Hebrews go." And Moses was scared. He said, "Oh, no. Pharaoh is very mad at me. He is not going to listen to me." And God said, "I will be with you. You need to go back to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go." Moses was still like, I think there's somebody better for this job. I don't think you should let me do it. What if nobody believes me? God was getting a little frustrated here. He told Moses to throw his staff down onto the ground. And when he did that, his staff turned into a snake. And the snake went around the bush. And then God said, "Catch it." And when he caught it, it turned back into his staff. God said, "You're going to use this to show the people that I am in charge and that I have been the one to send you." Well, that's a pretty cool thing that he gave Moses, the ability to turn his staff into a snake. But Moses was still too scared. He said, "Oh, but God, what if they don't? I'm not a very good speaker. I don't think I should go. I'm not a good speaker." God got actually really angry. And he said, "I will send you with your brother Aaron, and your brother Aaron can speak for you." And then Moses finally decided to follow his directions and obey. I understand that Moses did not want to go back to see Pharaoh. Pharaoh was probably still very angry at Moses for doing that bad thing. And he was a Hebrew and was one of God's chosen people. So I know Pharaoh did not like Moses very much. But you know what? Moses has the power of God with him. He can turn his staff into a snake. He's got Aaron to help him with, and he's got God to be with him the whole time. So now we're going to go to this part of the story where Moses does finally get brave enough to go back to Pharaoh. And he's going to ask Pharaoh to let his people go. Let God's people go. But guess what? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to convince Pharaoh. And a whole bunch of crazy things is going to happen. And it's actually one of my favorite Bible stories, but I can't tell you now because it is for next week. Next week you're going to have to come back and I'll tell you what happens when Moses goes to Pharaoh and says, "Let God's people go." You are going to love this story. It is just really amazing, again, of God's amazing power and care for us. So come back and see what happens when Moses talks to Pharaoh. Okay, so remember that burning bush that Moses came upon? It was really interesting because it had fire in it, but it wasn't getting burned. That's only something God can do, because if you put fire on anything, it will burn like that. and grow to the ground, and sometimes you won't even be able to recognize it. But this bush was special. And when Moses came up to it, he was walking on holy ground because God was in the bush. He was talking to Moses. So, what I thought would be fun today is if you got a little branch that had some leaves on it, make sure it has green leaves on it, because remember, our bush was not burning. So I just got this little twig from a tree outside. And now what I've done is I've taken rectangle pieces of tissue paper that are kind of fire colors, so red, orange, and yellow, and I made long rectangles. Put some glue at one end of it, and then I just took it and folded it around one of the leaves or one of the branches and just kind of folded it in half so it looks like it's kind of blowing in the wind. I already did that on some of it so I could show you, but you can cover this entire bush with these little fire colors and make it look like you have a burning bush. I'm going to do a couple more. So I'm just putting glue on the end here, which actually you could just leave it hanging off too, because you know fire kind of floats like that. That's kind of fun. Ooh, I'm going to do a few more of those because I think that's really cool. So I'll just put these, I'm just attaching these to these leaves over here. And now I have made my own burning bush. Pretty cool, huh? So here's kind of a fun thing that's a little bit of an art and a little bit of a snack. So what you can do is take a small little cup. Well, I guess it could be big depending on what size snack you want. You're gonna cover it in green construction paper. That is going to represent our bush. Remember, it was green, it never burned. Even though there was fire in it, it never lost its green branches. So you're just gonna take your glue stick, put your fingers inside so you don't have to hold the gluey part all the way around, and just coat it really good, because sometimes if you've got a little bit of a waxy cup like I do, the paper doesn't want to stick very well. And then you're just gonna tear some of your green paper, because you know leaves are not always perfectly shaped, and you're just going to attach that all around your cup to make it sort of look like a bush. Of course, you're gonna have to use your imagination here a little bit, because it is just a paper on a cup. But I think you can have some fun and remember that this is going to be your bush. See, my glue is having a hard time already. That's okay, just keep gluing. Not a bad thing to have a little bit more glue than you need. Okay, so now I have my cup. It's all covered in green. See, if you use your imagination, it could look like a bush. Now for the fun part, the eating part. So, if you look inside a bush, what are the leaves attached to? Branches, right? So, I've got some pretzel sticks here, and these are going to be our branches that would be inside the bush. Okay, so put some nice big branches or pretzel sticks, depending on your imagination. I think they're already branches. I guess we're going to be eating branches for a snack today. All right, that's a pretty good amount. Now for the fun part. Remember what else was in the bush? Fire. And guess what? There is a candy out there right now that looks just like fire. It's called candy corn. Check this out. It's like little fires. So you can put these inside your burning bush with the branches, and now you have a little burning bush with branches and fire inside. Delicious. Okay, boys and girls, now you've heard the story of how God was really with Moses, and I can't wait to see what happens next week when he goes to talk to Pharaoh. And you've also learned a bit about how to help your fears go away. When you're feeling scared, just remember all the times that God showed up for you and loved you and showed that he cared, because God cares for you, right? All right, we'll see you next week. Bye, kiddos.